10 Most Haunted Places in Canada. 1. Oak Island, Nova Scotia. The Oak Island mystery has plagued treasure hunters for decades. This small island off the coast of Lunenburg, Nova Scotia is allegedly the site of Canada's biggest treasure. Originally, no one really noticed Oak Island until a teenage boy found a circular depression in the ground in 1795. He and his friends dug until they reached a layer of logs. This area, the Money Pit, is where many hunters believe the secret treasure is buried. No one is sure what the treasure is. Some say it belonged to Captain Kidd or Blackbeard. There's speculation that it's old manuscripts or Marie Antoinette's jewels. Whatever it is, people desperately want to find it. Over the last 200 years, 6 men have died searching for the hidden treasure on Oak Island. The mystery of Oak Island caught the attention of Franklin D. Roosevelt and led to a documentary show following a treasure hunter searching for the hidden treasure. Some say the island is haunted by the ghosts of the men who died. Others say it's haunted by the greed of treasure hunters. Either way, it's one of the most haunted places in Canada. 2. Blue Ghost Tunnel, Ontario. The Blue Ghost Tunnel is an abandoned railway tunnel in Ontario. It's one of the most popular destinations in Canada for ghost hunters and one of the most haunted places in Ontario. The tunnel was built over 140 years ago to safely transport cargo from Lake Erie to Lake Ontario. Nearly 1,000 Irish immigrants dug the tunnel by hand, cut stones, and constructed the tunnel. During construction, the tunnel claimed the lives of 3 immigrant workers, including a 14-year-old boy. After its completion, the bloodshed continued. In 1903, 2 trains collided at full speed in the tunnel, killing the firemen for both trains. One was pinned against the boiler. When rescuers tried to save him, they gruesomely mangled his body. They could never recover his full body. The other fireman was flung into the boiler and suffered deadly burns. Visitors now say they can hear children crying from within the tunnel, the shouts of angry workers, and distant train whistles. Alberta. 3. The Fairmont Banff Spring Hotel is known for its spectacular views and its hauntings. The stunning hotel has been home to celebrities for years, even though guests claim it's difficult to sleep with the spirits in the hotel. Spirits throughout the hotel make noise at night. Sam the bellman, a man who adored his job, continues to assist guests with their luggage in the afterlife. The haunted Canadian hotel's most famous specter is their most tragic. A ghostly bride can be seen walking up and down the stairs where she died. Legend has it that she tripped on the hem of her wedding dress and fell down the stairs, dying before she could wed. Occasionally she drifts into the ballroom, the place where she would have had her first dance. 4. 5 Fisherman Restaurant, Nova Scotia. The 5 Fisherman Restaurant is one of the best places to eat in Nova Scotia, and it's one of the most haunted places in Canada. What is now a restaurant was originally a morgue. It's hard to believe with the opulence of the dining establishment, but any waiter is happy to recount exactly where the bodies were interred. After the deadly disaster of the Titanic, the majority of the victims who have been laid to rest in Nova Scotia were interred at this very site. Now, glasses routinely fly off shelves, place settings fall at random, taps turn on and off, and some people even hear their names being whispered. The 5 Fisherman Restaurant also has a view of St. Paul's Church, where you can see the outline of a woman in the window. But there's no woman there. When the Halifax explosion hit, she was killed instantly. They've replaced the window multiple times, but the same dark outline always returns. The ghost stories about at this haunted site. 5. HI Ottawa Jail Hostel, Ontario. Originally, the building houses the Carleton County Jail, a maximum security prison. The prison was known for its horrible conditions, like tiny cells and no windows. Many inmates died due to these conditions while others were publicly executed on the ground. These inmates still haunt the very cells you'll sleep in. Guests wake up in the night to ghostly specters of men around their beds. The most common apparition is a man clutching a Bible. He is believed to be Patrick James Whalen, who was jailed for assassinating a politician. 6. The Empress Hotel, British Columbia. The Fairmont Empress or the Empress Hotel is one of the most beautiful hotels in Canada. It's just as famous for its ghosts as its high tea. It is said that the architect, Francis Rattenborough, haunts the very halls he designed. Although he was brutally murdered by his wife's lover in England, he returned to his greatest work to seek the recognition he so craved. The favorite ghost at the Empress Hotel is the old woman in her PJs. She knocks on guests' doors and leads them to the elevator, then disappears. This one feels less spooky and more like a paranormal ding-dong ditch. 7. Street. Louis Ghost Train, Saskatchewan. In St. Louis, Saskatchewan, an abandoned railroad track is the source of paranormal stories. The railroad track has long been abandoned, but people still report seeing a single light traveling the tracks late at night. It changes color and intensity as it travels closer and closer. Ghost hunters aren't sure if it's the light of the ghost train still following the abandoned tracks or if it's the lantern of the beheaded engineer looking for his head. 8. Peggy's Cove Lighthouse, Nova Scotia. Peggy's Cove Lighthouse is one of the most photographed lighthouses in Canada. Perched on the shore of Nova Scotia, the attraction draws tourists from around the world. But most don't know its darker story. In the 1800s, a woman named Peggy was shipwrecked on the shore. Her children died in the wreck, leaving her to pace the shore grieving their loss. Her husband tried to cheer her by dancing on the rocks, but he slipped and fatally crushed his skull. All alone, Peggy leapt into the sea and took her own life. Visitors have seen her ghost standing on the rocks getting ready to jump. 9. The Delta Bessborough, Saskatchewan. The Delta Bessborough is a famously haunted hotel in Saskatchewan. When you visit the hotel you may notice a large crack in the marble floor of the ballroom. At this spot, guests have seen a friendly man in a suit and a fedora late at night. All seems normal, until you learn that he was an employee who was pushed from the balcony by rowdy guests and fell 7 stories to his death. His impact on the marble cracked it. Now, he can never leave it. The Bess is home to a less polite ghost. A small woman with messy hair and torn clothes is said to appear on the 3rd floor. If you ignore her, she leaves you alone. But if you try to speak to her or are too loud, she runs up and screams at you before vanishing. If you take the stairs, you may hear the laughter of a group of children. But no matter how far you climb, you won't find them. They died playing in the stairwell. Their laughter still haunts the hotel. 10. The Prince George Hotel, Ontario. Originally, this former hotel was home to the Herchmer family in the 1800s. The daughter, Lily, was allegedly having an affair with a rum smuggler. They had a secret code where she would light a lantern in the window to call for him. One night the lantern caused a fire that burnt the building to the ground. Lily died in the fire. You can still see her staring out the 3rd floor window, waiting for her lover to come to her. Before the building was converted into a bar, hotel employees reported radios turning on, whispers, and other haunting encounters.
If you like the video, so please subscribe the channel and hit the bell icon.